If you wish to delete one particular unit from the agreement, of course, you would just highlight the unit you wish to delete and use the red X button here on the right hand side. Now we do have a move out tab if a customer is moving out of all of their units, which we'll cover shortly. It's just important to remember that this red X here is used to remove one or a couple of units only, whereas the move out tab moves out the entire agreement and all of the units that this customer is in. Okay, now just underneath that particular section we have a billing plan field. At the moment it says monthly, as you can see there. If I click down, you can see we've got a couple of billing plans set up here in the demo: monthly, 3 month, 6 month, yearly and weekly. And you can set up all kinds of billing plans in Storman, and you can give discounts as well. So for example, you might have pay for 12 months and get an extra month free. You might have pay for 6 months and get $10 off. All sorts of things. You can have really complex billing plans, and you can give away money or you can give away incentives in 3 different ways in Storman. The first one is money. So for example, $10 off. The second way to give away an incentive in Storman is a percentage. So for example, pay for 6 months, get 5% off. And the third way to give away an incentive in Storman is time. For example, pay for 12 months and get the 13th month free. So there's 3 different ways. And you can build really complex billing plan systems in Storman if you need to, that do all kinds of things and sort of follow each other along from yearly, then it reverts back to monthly and so on. And if you're actually interested, we have a free webcast tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow morning for about 20 minutes. And it's called How to Design a Complex Billing Plan System in Storman. So just visit the website, which I'll give you at the end, to find out how to register for that free webcast tomorrow morning. That's the billing plan section there. Now, as I flick through from say monthly to 3 months, we can see that it's updating the price to be $450 here, which is just basically 3 times the monthly rate. And underneath that you'll see billing plan discount $13.50. That's because on the 3-month plan in our demo we're giving away, I believe, a 3% discount. If I change that to 6 months, you'll see again it's just multiplying that out, and the discount is $45. And that's because we have a discount of 5% on that plan, and in yearly we're giving away a 10% discount, as you can see there. Of course you can customize this, you can turn discounts off, all kinds of things you can do, and again that's covered in the webcast tomorrow. Now you might ask, well, okay, someone's about to go on a cruise or on a holiday, they've won the lotto, they want to pay 12 months in advance, but they haven't asked for a discount. How do you make someone pay for 12 months? Or in Storman, how do you set it so that they pay for 12 months but you don't give any money away? You might think, okay, well, you just click down here in the discount field and make it 0. Well, no, actually you can't click in there. It's not a field you can disable. We've done that intentionally so staff don't give away too much money unless managers want them to in discounts. So you might think, well, how do I do it? Okay, well, that's easy, because in Storman we have a secret little field called the multiplier field. So I'm just going to set that back to monthly, and then in here where it says 1 periods, I'm just going to change it to 12. So all it's doing now is multiplying whatever monthly has, which is 1 month, by 12. And as soon as I hit tab, you'll see that it's multiplied the rate by 12, and it's not giving a discount anymore. So essentially what it's doing there is just multiplying that field by 12 and not giving any money away, which is great. I'm just going to set that back to monthly for now. Underneath that, which is the last part of this particular tab I'm going to show you, it says Other Recurring Charges. And this section here allows you to bill things at the same time as rent. That might be an insurance fee, maybe $2 a month or something like that. And it could be electricity rental, it could be a rubbish removal fee, any sort of thing that you'd sort of want to charge on a recurring basis at the same time as rent. I'm just going to click in there and add insurance. Of course, we can add anything that we sell in Storman, which is why it's coming up with boxes and sticky tape and that sort of thing. Anything you sell. So I'm just going to click on here and enable my insurance module. Here we go. Okay, I'm just going to come back here and re-add that. There we go. I just had to enable the insurance module that was deactivated by default in my demo here. And now the amount, this is how much you're going to bill them for the insurance a month. So it might be, say, $5 a month to have this particular policy for $25,000, which we can see up here is what the unit's insured for. Okay, now again, in the same way that we can increase or decrease the rent of units at a specific time up here in the top right-hand section, we can also increase or decrease other items that are occurring at the same time. So for example, if next year the insurance rate's going up to $10, no problems, you just click in here, make it $10, and then set an increase date. 1st of January 2009, something like that. And Storman will automatically increase the rate for any of your recurring charges as well. It's a great way to, I guess, set and forget things in the system and not have to worry about them when they come due. Okay, so that's the first tab there, called Agreement Info. I'm now just going to click across to the second tab here, Customer Info 1. Now, as we can see, a lot of the information that we've entered in our our sales inquiry has come across to this section here. In fact, everything I would have entered on the sales inquiry screen would have come across. It's just that I didn't put a work mobile number in. I didn't put an email address in, any of that. But if had I would have completed those fields, they would have all come across here. And again, just to show Ali, who asked a question earlier about the ABN, you'll see that ABN field is now available here on the agreement screen as highlighted. So you can pop their ABN in there if required. Now, you may have all heard of something new in the self-storage industry called StoraCheck. Storman does support StoraCheck in that you can check a customer's details against a database of stores in Australia and in fact around the world. StoraCheck's now around the world, and that is supported with Storman. I'm running a slightly older version here of Storman for this demonstration, but essentially there'll be a new button right about here where I'm moving my mouse called StoraCheck, and you just click on that button and all it does is send a few of the customer's details on this screen to StoraCheck, and within a couple of seconds it will come back saying whether the customer is a good customer or if they've had any issues in the past and what the issues have been, and that's all sort of logged in the StoraCheck system there. Okay, so again, everything's pretty much the same as our reservation and sales inquiry screen here. One new section at the bottom in the middle is called Custom Fields, which you might see there. In this demo file here, I can only have 2, but in the current version of Storman, which is out there in the market, you can have up to 4 custom fields. And that might be, for example, you need to store maybe the customer's website address, the colour of their car, all sorts of things there, their second email address or a special phone number, pager number, whatever. So you can have your own custom fields if Storman doesn't have one under that name for you by default. So you've got over here driver's license, state, vehicle type, but there's nothing for vehicle color. If you needed to store that for whatever reason, just set up a custom field and you can put that underneath here. The third tab across here, Customer Info 2, allows you to set up the information for the secondary contact person or next of kin, depending on what information you've got stored for the customer, and that's just all entered there. Again, you can have custom fields for the secondary contact person as well, and they will appear down here once you've got them set up. In the bottom left section of the screen, again, we've got the marketing information that we saw from this customer, how they found us, yellow pages, the type of customer, residential. We've got 2 new ones again, for example, type of business, whether they're a tradesperson, accountant, solicitor, etc., and the reason for storing. They might be moving house, or they've got too much stuff, etc. And again, you can customize what options you've got inside these little boxes here to be whatever you like. And you can run reports on these. So it's a great way for managers to see how people are finding you, what type of clientele you're attracting, whether you're getting a lot of tradies or a lot of accountants, etc., and why people are sort of storing with you, whether they're moving house, that sort of thing. So it's, I guess, a good way to find out what's going on in your facility, and managers can use it to their advantage. So for example, if a lot of people are storing because they're moving house, it might be a good idea to sort of team up with some removal companies and give them discount vouchers or a bit of money for referring customers to you, because that's a great way to get leads in. Again, just on the right-hand side here, we have another section in the demonstration data file called Military Contact Information. If the person's in the military, you can store that information as well. It was originally enabled just for the US customers who used Storman, but now with the troops over in Afghan and that sort of thing, it's now enabled for Australian customers as well, because the military will pay storage bills for you if the actual soldier themselves is not available or is serving overseas. The fourth tab across, as you can see here, we're now on credit card and letters. The top left section shows you a letter history, and this is basically a history of all the SMSs, emails and letters that have gone out to this customer. And Storman will by default show all of the automatic letters that it sends. So when it sends an invoice just before it's due, or when it sends a late reminder, late notice, that's automatically added here. but you can use the little plus icon here to add your own letter at any time. You might want to send them just a thank you note or a Christmas letter, or you might just want to send them a privacy policy update so they know how you store their information in terms of the privacy agreement. And you can just use those plus buttons here to create your own ad hoc letter. In the middle section, under timing and delivery settings, you can see there that the customer is receiving this invoice 10 days before due. And that's the default that's in the system. If you want to set the system default to 14 or 21, that's cool. You just do it in the system setup screens of Storman. But by default here we've got 10. Now if you switch this on, what it will do is it will override that setting for this customer only. So if the default's 10, as we've got here, but this is a government department or a big firm and they take quite a while to pay, they might need a bit more notice. So you can change that to say 21 or 28 days. And that means for this customer only, they're going to get their invoice a lot earlier than the other people, 21 days before due. I'll just set that back to what it was for the demo and switch that off, but it's just to show you that you've got that option there. Underneath that, you've got a tick box, send all correspondence via email. This allows you to trigger that for this customer only, everything's going to go by email instead of by print. So all of your late notices, your reminders, and your rent increase letters or notifications are all going out by email instead of by mail or by print. And of course there is just a reminder there that lets you know if you're about to sell up the customer. A lot of self-storage associations around the world do require that you do use registered mail to ensure that letter does get to the customer as opposed to emailing, so there's just that reminder there. If the customer signed up for SMS as well and you've got their mobile number entered, you can switch on this box here, which will send all correspondence via SMS as well. So when the customer's late, not only will they get a late letter or a late email in their inbox, they'll also get an SMS to their phone that might say something like, you're 5 days overdue, at midnight tonight you're going to be locked out of the gate, please ring and pay up now. And you'd be amazed how well that works. Generally when a lot of Storman users run daily processing, which is the system that sends all the letters and SMSs, they'll get a flood of calls afterwards from people ringing up and paying their bill over the phone with the credit card because they've just forgotten or whatever. So it's amazing how powerful that feature is when customers are overdue, just to have that switched on. Photo management at the bottom of the middle panel here allows you to add photos for this customer onto their agreement. So, for example, some sites may scan the driver's license, no problems. You can scan that in and add the photo into Storman. Or if the customer, for example, may have been storing a car and it's leaked oil and all sorts of things all over the concrete, and they're disputing that they left the unit in a messy state with oil everywhere, you can then take a photo and add that to this agreement so it's always there as proof. And you can add as many photos as you like to each agreement. It's not limited to just the one, although one will just show up in this preview panel here. You can just click on that and see any of the photos you've got added in as a bit of a history there and print them off. Over on the right hand side, one of the last sections we'll go through on this particular tab, Auto Pay Details, allows you to switch on automatic payments for this customer. And there's a couple of different ways we do auto pays in Storman. We have credit card, which is where you deduct money out of their card each time they're due. And you would also have direct debits, as you can see there, using the bank account information. Now, so there's a couple of different ways there, depending on what the customer likes. The AutoPay module itself has two subsections, I guess you can call it. If you have an FPOS machine already and you just want to use that to process your credit cards, no problems. You'd pop in the AutoPay credit card details and amount, and you'd tick the box to turn it on. And every time this customer is due to have their rent deducted off their card, you'd get a report printed out with the credit card number, name and amount. You would then run that through your FPOS machine and receipt it on their agreement installment to show that they've paid. The other section of AutoPay for credit cards is an internet-based service. If you really can't be bothered typing in 16-digit credit card numbers into your FPOS machines, especially if you've got 10 or 20 to do in a week or in a day, if you're a very, very big or busy facility, you can use our online payments module. And essentially all that does is within 2 or 3 seconds, every credit card gets deducted over the internet automatically, and a receipt gets added as well in Storman against that customer's account. So it does save a lot of time if you've got 10 or 20 credit cards to process each day, and you can imagine how long that would take putting those numbers into an FPOS machine. So the online module is great for that. And of course, bank account info. If they're paying by direct debits, you need to fill in the direct debit form, which you can get with Storman, and put in their bank details, click OK, and then every time it's due, it will then be direct debited out of their account. Now these are add-on modules for Storman. The AutoPay that prints out comes as standard, but if you wish to use the online auto pay with the credit card or the direct debits, I believe it's about $50 or $100 to get it activated through our merchant provider AdVam, and just feel free to ask a question if you need AdVam's contact details, and we can send you the forms if you're interested in turning that on. Section 5 here, Access and Insurance, which should just be loading on your screen now, allows you to set PIN code